4 years of university studies got me here. Well, getting a Bachelor of Arts degree didn't physically transport me to the Chihuahuan desert, but it did teach me about themes regarding global migration, refugees, asylum seekers, borderlands, and in general, current issues pertaining to the US-Mexico border. Growing up in a suburb of Houston, Texas, traveling to any border city seemed far. El Paso is about 11 hours away from Houston. Both cities are in the same state, and to help make sense of the long distance, one has to process that Texas is larger than Kenya, Africa. After being in school and watching countless documentaries, reading academic articles, and sitting in lectures that taught material about the history and contemporary issues of the US-Mexico border, I was determined to make this distant reality tangible. In December of 2021, I grabbed my laptop and searched for refugee shelters that would allow me to volunteer and have living accommodations with them. Luckily, within the same week, I was accepted into a shelter with free room and board available. And that's when I decided to start my upcoming journey to El Paso, Texas on January 14th, 2022. I was astonished and proud about what was happening. All the elements of this event hit me at once during the drive. It was a situation that many educators desire for their students, which is to implement what was learned in the classroom into society. In my case, this was occurring by going to lend a hand to refugees at the border through a nonprofit organization. It is very important to emphasize that I am going to relate the forthcoming circumstances that I lived under my direct experiences without any influence from the media or a political agenda. I'm an immigrant from Venezuela who is now a US citizen. I had to leave Venezuela at the age of 8 to experience a new life. I did not come to the US alone or across the border. My migration story began when my parents received a job offer in this country. In 2006, my parents and my sister and I moved from Caracas, Venezuela to Houston, Texas in order to begin our immigration process. To arrive in El Paso from Houston, one has to cross 3 out of the 4 geographical regions of Texas, them being the Gulf Coastal Plains, the Great Plains, and the mountains and basin biomes, which is where Sun City is located. I thought that the song Sun City by Khalid was a fantasy town where he left his heart as he described in his track, but in actuality, he was addressing El Paso since the city has roughly about 297 to 302 days of sunshine per year. However, that's not the only nickname that the city holds. I later found that El Pasoans call their home Chuco Town as well, emerging from the term Pachuco, which refers to the Mexican-American youth subculture that originated in El Paso in the 1940s. Pachucos were characterized by adopting the zoot suit, which also served as a symbol of rebellion. What were Pachucos rebelling from? Learning for Justice explains, in the early 1900s, Mexican Americans or Chicanos in California and the Southwest were excluded from whites-only theaters, parks, swimming pools, restaurants, and even schools. Because of the discrimination and prejudice that Pachucos endured, they had a particular fashion style to demonstrate pride and resistance for their community. This movement was also shared by men and women, meaning that some Latinas at that time also wore zoot suits. Leaving the coastal prairies towards the arid desert lands feels welcoming. It is a rest for the senses due to more uninhabited areas, a few places to hide, and some mountains to climb when flat lands can't say enough of what one will find. Nature's therapy was repurposing my nerves into hopeful mysticism, stimulating my wishful thinking and daydreams with its conspicuous appearance. The outstanding rock formations and the prominent cacti of the West form a part of a landscape with a promise of its extension for miles to come and for the remainder of my stay. I was not alone on the way to the volunteer gig because my father wanted to accompany me to observe where I would be spending most of my time. So this is my dad, and my dad used to do vlogs by himself on his Android.
Hello.
But he stopped doing vlogs because... Why'd you stop doing vlogs?
I don't have time, maybe.
We are here together and we... Where are we right now?
I think in Junction, Texas.
In Junction, Texas, okay. This is what it looks like. You wanna see what it looks like? It looks like this.
Go outside to the window
It looks super cool. You know how parents are when worried about their children, especially because I had little time to plan for the trip. As we pass the caverns of Sonora, famous for its calcite crystal formations located between San Antonio and Big Bend National Park, my dad began to ask particular questions concerning the safety of El Paso. Before I left, I did simple Google searches and found articles that ranked El Paso among the safest large cities in the United States. In fact, in October of 2021, El Paso was ranked the 3rd safest city in America by Advisor Smith, which is a business insurance company that used data from the FBI to publish an article with this information. Some people think that El Paso is a very unsafe city, while others think otherwise, but I couldn't ignore that many reputable sources consistently rank El Paso as one of the safest cities in the United States. All of this information was enough for me to consider volunteering my time there. Thank you for watching the first episode of the Border series. I am Valerie Rodriguez. If you're interested in watching, in listening, and in taking the first-hand accounts that I had at the border, specifically around the El Paso area and the surrounding area, then keep watching. It is definitely a refreshing perspective, and it's quite the journey for somebody who learned a lot of these topics and went to the border out of curiosity and out of wanting to learn more about what was really going on. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy this.